Welcome back to Frontline Fantasy Football. This is your host, Jason Cameron, and I'm here with my co-host, Jonathan Hausler.
Hey there.
And the producer of the Eyes and Ears, Seth Hansen.
What's up?
Not much. So today is October 25th, 2017, if you didn't know the year. We are excited to be back for Week 8. And, at least I know I am. I guess I can't speak for everybody else.
Skull Vikings.
Yeah.
Skull Kai Forbath. Gosh. Would have won my league if I would have had him. Did you know how many points he scored?
No.
24.
Oh my gosh.
As a kicker. Because the Vikings just kicked a bunch of field goals.
I saw someone picked him up in one of my leagues today, and I was wondering why.
It might have actually been 27.
I was confused. I thought he was on the Buccaneers at one point. I don't know.
He probably was. We got rid of what's-his-nuts when he shanked that kick.
Blair Walsh.
And now he's with Seattle.
I don't think he is.
Did he get cut?
Isn't it Hoshka? Stephen Hoshka?
No, Hoshka's with Buffalo now.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Well, don't follow my kicker advice.
It's a bad day when I know more about anything related to football
Seth
than you.
is our kicker fantasy football specialist. So
yeah.
tweet him for your kicker advice.
It would be me that knows about kickers, though. Seriously.
Kickers and how Tiger Woods is doing.
Hey,
Seth at Seth Hansen, 1992.
Stay tuned for my random 2 minutes. That's kind of crazy that you pretty much called it.
I mean, guessing something about you is going to be about golf.
Unintentional
Wild
preview.
One. So if you notice today, we have two new additions, two new athletes to the table. I'm not going to point to which one, but if you go and look on YouTube, you can see them. First person to tweet us the names of those two new athletes wins a $10 gift card of their choice from Frontline Fantasy Football. So remember to tweet us. Go to YouTube, Frontline Fantasy Football. Tweet us the names of the two athletes. Win $10 gift card. Dynamite.
Worth it.
All right, so let's go to injuries. First injury up, Carson Palmer, broken arm, done for the year. Backup is...
Doesn't matter.
Slipping my name. But yeah, basically going to make everybody worthless on the Cardinals offense, to me anyway.
Yeah.
Minus AP.
Right. You don't have confidence starting any single one. Even Fitzgerald, which is sad.
Yeah. I think AP is just going to, 15 carries a game, maybe get you 7 points, and you're just going to have to be happy with that as your flex play. Right.
Nothing special. Don't expect what he did 2 weeks ago to ever happen again.
Nope, not anymore. Brandon lucked out because of that. We had a bet last week that he would average 8 points a game, and there's no way now. Next injury up, Jay Cutler injured his chest. Matt Moore had to come in. Actually looked pretty good.
It may work. Yeah, it may work out better for the Dolphins that this happened.
Yeah,
it looks like.
Jarvis Landry had more catches and had another touchdown for the third straight week in a row. So,
yeah.
He's been there for 3 or 4 years, so he knows the offense. Could end up working out. Jay Cutler is questionable right now. Mike Wallace in concussion protocol, as well as Juju Smith-Schuster. Concussion protocol can take...
Is that a real name?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
Juju Smith Schuster?
Uh-huh.
J-U Smith, and then how everybody spells Schuster.
Do you know Julio Jones' actual name?
Julio?
Yeah.
Well, if you give me about 10 minutes.
It's not, I can't, somebody told me, but look it up. It's insane.
Julio Jones is not his actual name?
No, it's his nickname.
What?
You got it,
I'm just
Jonathan.
dropping knowledge today.
I'll look it up.
It's something insane. So.
All right, so while we do that, fourth injury, Dan Bailey, groin injury. Don't know when he's coming back. Go ahead, Jonathan.
Found it. It is interesting. It sounds like you pronounce it Quintoris Lopez.
Yep.
Jones.
Sounds like a mythical creature from a Harry Potter novel.
How the heck do you get Julio out of Quintoris?
You don't.
Your buddies are tired of calling you Quintoris? I don't know.
Quinn Jones?
Sounds like a group of
Quinn?
Fords.
Why can't you call him Quinn?
I don't know.
Or Quint.
Why does William become Bill?
Maybe he just really liked Simon
Very
and
true.
Garfunkel.
Nobody's picking that up here. Seth is 50 at heart, so... Just shaking his head. So Dan Bailey, groin. He's a kicker. I mean, tweet at Seth for your kicker advice, but he's out. And then the last one I wanted to mention was Joe Thomas. He had a tricep injury. This is the first snap. Last Sunday was the first snap he missed in 11 years. So, impressive. Sorry the streak had to end. We'll move on to news. Martavis Bryant will not play this Sunday. Team suspension. The team demoted him for complaining about his playing time. Mike Tomlin said it was a distraction. And Mike Tomlin said that trading him is not in the cards. So, Martavis, for me, I've been holding on to him, but I dropped him last week. He's definitely droppable for me.
Yeah, I had him in a couple
You
weeks
are
too.
one pathetic loser.
Yes, he is.
That's an accurate drop. But yeah, definitely droppable.
He is right, though, when he said he's better than Juju Smith-Schuster.
I just feel like, I don't know, whether it's bad luck or the Steelers just don't want to play him. He's definitely good, but he's just stuck on a team that doesn't want him.
I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't trade him. I know the Bears would give their left leg for him.
Seriously.
So
the Bears are desperate.
Yeah, they need something.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Bears, they traded a 7th-round pick for Dontrell Inman. He was a wide receiver from the Chargers. He was fantasy relevant last year. He's actually a decent-sized receiver. I think he was 6'4", 215 pounds or something like that. So he could actually be an add in deeper leagues. I mean, probably not in a 10-team league, but you never know. You never know.
Did you guys see the stats on that Bears game?
No, Seth.
Of total offense?
I know
I can't remember what the numbers exactly were, but it was something embarrassing.
Yeah, and it was like the most run-heavy game
ever. What's his face completed like 2 passes and they won.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
That was something insane.
Because
I remember that.
Both their touchdowns were both defensive
scoop
touchdowns.
and score and a pick six by the same player or something like that.
I watched that game. There was no touchdowns. I don't get why you want to hurry up and rush a quarterback in if you're only going to throw it with him 7 times. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I just think like they realize that he's not good, so they'll just do whatever
won,
it takes to make him not throw. I mean, he hasn't looked terrible, but
no, but I mean, you're not going to look terrible handing the ball off 40 times and throwing it 7 times.
Very true.
Made your boy Cam Newton look.
Bears defense is legit.
Yeah.
Cam Newton looked bad, but in his defense, he's getting killed. Literally killed on every play.
I haven't watched a single snap of any game. I've just been looking at fantasy.
I know their offensive line
it was
is
the
terrible.
First. I was watching the game. It was the first series, and he was rushed 3 times, so he had to quick get the ball out. Mm-hmm. He was sacked once and hit like 2 or 3 times in the first series, which is just
so they're just coming after him.
Yeah, he's getting killed. They can't block for anybody.
Yikes.
So Cam Newton kind of scares me going forward, but I'm going to play him just because he's my boy. So Bears traded for Dontrell Inman was the last one, and then Zeke just not suspended for now. Is all the info
don't
we
I
have.
freaking know it. He dropped a 39.9 burger on Jaboy this week. Ugh.
Not bitter.
Who is Jaboy?
Me. I'm Jaboy.
Oh.
I had him last year, though, so turnabout's fair play.
Yeah. Not because you picked him, you just had him.
He was just there.
Oh. I was like, wait, what?
Somebody skipped the draft for the fair.
Come on.
So let's move on to stud and dud of the past weekend. Basically, should be self-explanatory, but pick a stud and a dud.
Yeah.
So Jonathan and I appear to have the same stud, so Jonathan, take it away.
Nice. Amari Cooper is my stud. He had 11 catches, 210 yards, and 2 touchdowns, which if you started him, it's pretty awesome. He had 44 points in PPR, 33 points in standard, but it's his first week being a stud. Every other week he's been a dud, one of the biggest busts this year. He's had only 58 total yards over his past 4 games, which is bad. And, but he looked really good.
So on Amari Cooper, I kind of got into an argument with a person online. They asked if they should start or if there was any lineup changes they should have. And they had Amari Cooper in, and I saw John Brown was on their bench. John Brown's had a touchdown the past 2 games. So I said, take Amari Cooper out, start John Brown. And then they came back and said, well, it's a rivalry game for Amari Cooper. I think he could have a big game this week. And I said, until it happens, I would not play him.
Do rivalry games matter in the NFL?
Well, I came back, and I'll address that in a second, Seth. I'm not ignoring you. So I said, don't play him, and they said, okay, thank you. And then basically started watching the game. Amari Cooper goes off, and I tweeted
Right
them back.
away.
I said, sorry, and they came back and said, I actually didn't follow your advice. I played Amari Cooper, and they were winning their league because of that.
Fantastic.
So I was like, wow, that really sucks because I gave you the advice not to start him. You go against my advice, and he does well. So I guess that's probably better than saying not start, and they follow it.
He went with his gut. Yeah.
It was a she, actually.
Sorry.
She
Nailed
went
it.
with And so rivalry games, I don't think they matter.
I don't think they matter. I mean,
No. I think they just wanted to target Amari Cooper this game.
Yeah, they if you watched it, they really literally force fed him the ball.
19 targets.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And I don't know. I started him in a couple leagues, but that's only because I saw Mike Clay tweeted something about how the cornerback that was going to be lining up with Cooper has allowed 479 yards already this year.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's the only reason I started him. Otherwise, I would have had him on my bench too. But yeah, he had a career high in targets, yards, and fantasy points.
Well, you could have texted me or something.
I know. Well, I was watching my son, and I got on my phone for a second and saw that. So
I lost by
I only had, a
7.4
minute.
points.
Not only did you
Oof.
lose by 7.4, your team put up 60 points?
67 point something.
Off week.
Well, Cam kind of was a microcosm of
Yeah,
your
but I
week.
played against Mariota, so I mean it evened
geez.
out.
They evened out,
They
yeah.
cancel each other out.
Yeah. Another thing, just one more thing to note on this. He also lined up in the slot 35% of the time, which he usually doesn't. He lines up in the slot 15% usually. So that was kind of a different change too. So I wonder if that's something they keep doing going forward.
Yeah, I think he's a must start for me from now on.
Yeah, after that kind of game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a get right game. Hopefully he keeps it up.
Wide receiver too for me.
But do you think that they do a better job covering him now? Do you think is he going to go out? How many points did he have?
33 and 44 in standard.
So
or
what
in,
do you
PPR.
think he can expect? 15?
No, I mean you're going to get from 8 to 12 probably.
8 to 12.
It's going to be a realistic.
Yeah, it's still
He's
decent.
not going to drop
Yeah.
another
But I
30
think
burger.
right, and he's still technically the wide receiver 2 on the Raiders. Crabtree. I mean, they're
Yeah.
both around the same level, but Crabtree's technically
1A
the
and 1B.
Yeah. Crabtree's definitely technically wide receiver 1, so he should get the better corner if they're shadowing.
Right. And I think you have to start him just for the sheer fact that he could end up scoring 33 points.
Right.
So,
You're not going to bench him after that.
no. I have one of my studs. I had another stud. It would be O.J. Howard, 6 receptions, 98 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's looked good. This is his second game of the year that he's had like this, where he's had a decent game because him and Cameron Brate. They're not trading back and forth. Cameron Brate has appeared to have been the better tight end for the Buccaneers, but
Right.
O.J. Howard is kind of blossoming right now. I don't know if I'd necessarily go and pick him up or use a waiver position on him, but
Yeah, it's hard just because they're using both of them so much.
Yeah.
It's hard to predict which one is going to go off that week or not.
right.
I mean, last week they both were startable
Duh.
based
Winning.
on their points that they ended up with, but I don't know. It's hard to trust Howard still.
Rest of the year right now, who would you prefer?
I like Brate just because he has that proven track record of being consistent, and I don't know. He has more rapport with Winston, I think.
Yeah, I'd go Brate too as well. So, did you have any more studs of the week?
I had a couple. I'll touch on them quickly.
Go for it.
One was Carson Wentz. He had 4 touchdowns, 268 yards and passing yards, and 63 rushing yards. That was on Monday night, and he's thrown 3 or more touchdowns in the last 3 games. So he's
Leads
on
the
fire.
league in passing touchdowns with 17.
Right, and people keep saying MVP candidate and all that kinds of stuff. So he's definitely doing real well right now.
He would be the real meal.
Yeah, that is true.
Real meal.
Bring it back. My second other stud I just had was it's obvious. It's Ezekiel Elliott. He had 40.9 points in PPR, total of 3 touchdowns and over 200 yards.
Oh, man,
combined.
that's weird, though, because in the standard it was 39.9, so he had 2 receptions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Well, one reception
1 reception.
for 72 yards and a touchdown. So, yeah. So obviously you expect big numbers from Zeke, but that was huge.
Shout out to the Niners for playing defense.
They're terrible.
They were there on the field, but
It wouldn't appear so.
yeah.
All right, move on to duds. My first one, Jerick McKinnon, 14 attempts, 47 yards. After the previous week, you expected him to be the back for the Vikings, and then Latavius Murray comes out and rushes for 100 yards and a touchdown. So
Yeah.
now you're just all in sort of confusion, and I don't know whether I'd want to play McKinnon anymore.
It's hard.
I mean, we'll talk about it in our next section, but he was just a dud of last week.
He was, yeah. It was kind of disappointing.
Your next one, your first one.
My first stud was C.J. Anderson, or you can also say the entire Broncos offense. It was basically, I don't know, this week it was a bad week offensively. There were 7 NFL teams that didn't score an offensive touchdown, and the Broncos were one of them.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Anderson only had 10 carries for 44 yards, and that's 2 bad games in a row. Not looking good for the Broncos right now.
No. Rest of the season, C.J. Anderson.
I don't know. It's hard because I still have faith in him, but right now if I have other options, I'm not starting him. He's still an RB2, but he's also risky now.
I'll probably rank him as a flex play for the rest of the season, but
All right.
he's not. I have not done my rankings yet. I've been in Texas all week, so I will end up doing my rankings on Thursday, October 26th. So if you actually look at the website and look for our rankings, then they will be there tomorrow.
Sweet.
So my second dud would be Alshon Jeffrey, 2 receptions, 37 yards. He was supposed to be the guy for the Eagles, and it doesn't appear to be that way. Nelson Aguilar appears to be the guy. Zach Ertz appears to be the guy. And, I mean, Alshon's not even getting anywhere close to the targets that the other guys are getting, which you would expect him to.
Right. I watched most of that game, and I must have missed the time where he had catches because I didn't see him catch anything. So I missed his 2 catches.
Yeah, easy to miss.
Yeah.
One of them, it was a nice catch too. One of them was it's not a 30-yard, but it was like a 25-yard back of the shoulder catch. He looks good. I just don't know why he's not getting the ball. But Carson Wentz has been good enough where he can spread the ball out, kind of like Kirk Cousins.
I agree. Yeah.
I think Alshon Jeffrey and Terrell Pryor are going to be in that same category. Probably Alshon's a little bit above him, but
yeah, I would definitely. Yeah, Alshon has more value than Pryor, but still, I think the rise of Aguilar definitely has hurt Jeffrey.
Yeah,
and I think that's the main reason why.
Rank him as the third best person to have third best pass catcher to have on the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree.
Aguilar or Ertz would you have first?
Oh man.
I'm going Ertz.
I would too, just because he's just been so consistent.
Yeah.
I mean, Aguilar's been really good too. This year he's been really good.
Yes.
But it's like, I don't know. I think him and Ertz just are clicking. So
right.
That's what I would do.
Yep. Agreed.
My next stud I had was Melvin Gordon. After his last 2 amazing weeks where he had over 30 points both weeks in PPR, he only had 38 rushing yards. He just couldn't get it done. And they used the backup running back, Eckler or something like that, and he actually looked a lot better. He was playing a lot better than Gordon was, at least. It was just hard to see Gordon struggle that much.
Yeah. You can go ahead. That was all of my duds.
Yeah, I just have one more. It's kind of like the Broncos. I basically said the entire Titans offense. They also had no offensive touchdowns. Mariota only had 203 passing yards, and Murray only had 59 rushing yards. And if you care about Derrick Henry, he only had 13 rushing yards. So basically all of them sucked. It was hard to watch that one.
And for the Titans, to make matters worse, Delaney Walker sprained his ankle. It looked pretty bad, but sprained his ankle in the 4th quarter of the game. So
oof.
I believe they are on a bye week this week, so hopefully he should be back the next week. But sprained ankles, like I said last week, are no joke, so he could end up being out for a while. So you're going to have to look for different tight end options.
Good advice.
Let's move on to our backfield blues. We have 6 teams here that are struggling with the running back spots, and we're just going to kind of give our opinion on what you should do with that backfield, basically if you should avoid them or which player you should have. So let's start out with the Vikings. Just Latavius Murray and Jerick McKinnon. We kind of talked about this earlier. Which back do you see yourself wanting the rest of the year, if any?
I still want McKinnon if I have a choice. He has a solid receiving floor, I think. He still had 17 touches last week, and he looks to me he looks like he's the better overall back. Even though it's a split backfield right now, I would choose McKinnon.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going that direction. It's pretty much a tie for pretty much. I would want to avoid this backfield situation as much as possible. I would probably trade either one of them if I had, especially Murray, since he had a decent game last week. I would get rid of him.
Yeah. Yep.
But I would look to trade either one. I don't want to keep. If I had to choose, I'm probably on the same boat as you, McKinnon, just because the sheer amount of touches he got last week. But
yeah,
I'm avoiding.
Fair enough.
For now. Next one up, Packers. Ty Montgomery, Aaron Jones, and then Jamal Williams. So
coming from the Vikings fan over there.
Ty Montgomery, he's gotten injured and then hasn't done much since he's came back. Probably because he still is dealing with that rib injury.
Right.
So potential-wise, Aaron Jones, I think, has the best potential, and he's probably the running back I would want for the Packers.
Yeah.
I just don't feel any confidence starting him.
It's hard. I know. This one, like, it switched so fast. It's, like, still kind of hard to believe that Aaron Jones is taking over.
Right.
He did really good last week. He had 17 carries, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Kind of like the only bright spot in their offense right now. But I agree. It's almost like a wait and see to see what happens when Montgomery finally becomes healthy. But it does look like they're still going to try. Even if Montgomery is healthy, they're still going to work in Jones.
Right.
So it seems like it'll be a split backfield or Montgomery becomes the pass catching back or something. And
Aaron Jones did have a 70-yard touchdown, so I think it was more so they went with the hot hand.
Yeah.
Than Ty Montgomery just isn't
Very
as
true.
good as Aaron Jones. So I don't. Rest of the year, who do you want?
It's hard.
Or do you want to avoid this one?
I think if I didn't have either one right now, I would avoid. If I had one, I would want Aaron Jones just because of what he's doing right now.
Yeah, Aaron Jones for me. But this is another one I'd probably avoid at all costs. It's just going to be whoever has the hot hand, and you're never going to know that.
Right. I feel like a lot of our answers to this one are going to be avoid.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Third one, Patriots. James White. Oops, I put Ty Montgomery. That's not correct. James White, Deion Lewis, Rex Burkhead is kind of he's there. And
he's back.
Mike Gillislee.
Yeah.
So Mike Gillislee fumbled last week, and then he's definitely not getting as many carries.
No.
And it's kind of the Patriots thing to do.
Yeah, and it's hard. Yeah, Patriots is always hard to predict who is going to be the one that gets the most work. Last week, Deion Lewis, his snap rate was 35%. James White was 31%, and Rex Burkhead and Mike Gillislee was 18%. So, I don't know. Lewis is looking great. He looks like his old self before he got injured.
Right.
And it's just hard. It's hard to choose.
And he was a top 10
one.
back last year before he got injured.
Yeah, he was amazing. But they also didn't have Gillislee or Burkhead then. It was just him, Blunt, and James White. And James White wasn't really a thing.
Rest of the year, which way are you going?
I had him. I would rank him. I'll go Lewis first. I'll go Lewis, White, Burkhead, and then Gillislee.
Wow.
So, I have faith in Lewis. I just think Gillislee has not looked good with his carries at all. He's a good goal line good goal line back, but other than that, he's garbage.
I think I would go James White, Deion Lewis, Mike Gillislee, Rex Burkhead.
All right.
I don't buy into Rex Burkhead. He's from Nebraska. That should
He's
be
white.
enough. Yeah, I'm not going there. James White, I think, has been the most consistent back. I think Mike Gillislee was a thing, but James White was still there. Now Deion Lewis is a thing, but James White is still there. So
yeah,
James White is who I'd want.
In PPR, you definitely want White.
Next, backfield up, we have the Raiders. Marshawn Lynch, DeAndre Washington, and Jalen Richard. Marshawn Lynch is suspended this week. Should have been in the news, I guess.
Yeah, that's true.
Running out on the field and defending his quarterback or
trying to
his Oakland.
But accidentally or purposely shoved a ref.
Yeah, so he deserved it.
Not cool. Not cool. Yeah, and so this one, in his absence, is basically going to be a split backfield as well. And it's kind of a dart throw to predict which one's going to do well.
Watching them, I think Jalen Richard is the better back. I know ESPN has DeAndre Washington projected higher, but I think Jalen Richard is more explosive.
I agree. And Richard, he'll get the receptions. Washington will be the pounder, the ground and pound, but I don't know. If I had him, I wouldn't even want to start him this week. It's a tough matchup against the Bills, and they've only allowed 80 yards rushing in a game one time this season. Other than that, it's always been below 80 yards. So if you start one, you're not going to get much out of either, I don't think.
Rest of the year, rank them.
I think Lynch still keeps the starting job, so I'd do Lynch, Richard, and then Washington.
Same for me. So we'll move on to the next one. We have the Redskins. Rob Kelly, Samaje Perine, Chris Thompson, who has been a thorn in fantasy owners' sides.
Or a blessing.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you've been bold enough to start him, I would never start him. But
he's been a thorn in my side when I played against him. So
yes, yeah. You actually lost this week because of some garbage time.
The last drive, his last reception and 15 yards rushing at the end killed me. Lost me my match. Not cool.
But we also have to put light on the fact that you started CJ Beathard. So
yes,
that is a 49ers quarterback formerly from the Hawkeyes who did not even have 2,000 passing yards his senior season.
It's because he was hurt. FYI. Played through it.
Or he sucked.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, Jonathan started him, so don't feel bad for him.
Right. It's my own fault. But I should have picked up Josh McCown instead. And instead, I decided to be a homer, and it did not work out. So
yep, never pays to be a homer.
Don't be a homer.
Redskins. So Rob Kelly he's questionable each week. You don't know whether to play him or whether to sit him.
Yeah.
But he's still probably the back I would prefer out of all three.
Oh, dang. I'm going to disagree. To me, this is like one of the clearest cut split backfields that we have, because Thompson is obviously the catching back. He's on fire right now, and then Kelly is like the easy early down bruiser. But it's also kind of changing. Kelly's also been getting pulled out at certain points, and then Thompson gets those early down carries too. So it seems like they're trusting Thompson more and more each week. I don't know. I don't even feel comfortable starting Kelly. He's looked all right, but he's just not getting enough touches.
Yeah, I wouldn't start him either, but he's probably the back I'd prefer. I just don't trust Chris Thompson. He's just a flash in the pan.
For 7 weeks?
This flash has been lasting a little bit longer than the average flash in the pan.
I don't know.
So ranking him, I think you're going Chris, Rob, Samaje, and I'm going Rob, Chris, Samaje.
Yeah, yep.
Our last one is the Titans, and that would be DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry.
Yeah. This one,
I think this one's the easiest to rank for me.
It is easiest, and it's become more clear as the weeks go on a little bit, because DeMarco's still the starting running back. He's playing through an injury, but I feel like he's playing through it because he doesn't want to lose the starting job, basically. Right. That's what happens. People get injured, and then they lose the starting job.
Yep.
Ask Ty Montgomery. But
ask Drew Bledsoe.
Yeah. Ask Tony Romo. But, yeah, Murray.
Ask Aaron Rodgers.
Oh.
Bold prediction.
Hundley hype.
Hundley takes it. No, I'm not sticking by that one.
But, yeah, I don't know. It's hard because Murray and Henry both get a lot of carries. Murray had 18 carries last week. Henry had 13. But, yeah, the job is Murray's still.
I had to start Henry last week, and his first 3 carries were for -4 yards. So
yeah,
it was a rough week. I think what's his face, Myles Garrett makes a difference on the Browns' defensive line.
Very true.
He's actually going through concussion protocol, I believe, or something like that. He's injured at the moment.
Again, yeah. But, yeah, Browns' run defense is no joke, even without Myles Garrett. But
yeah.
I know. It was hard. Henry only averaged 1 yard per carry that game.
Henry looked bad.
Yes.
Yeah. He's only had 2 good games this year. So DeMarco Murray for me, then Derrick Henry, and I think you agree as well.
Yep, definitely agree.
All right, so let's go on to our bold predictions. Seth, I'm hoping we got some music for that.
Ooh.
Not before a fantastic Olive Garden ad, Jason.
I thought that was the actual music.
No, good Lord. You think that's what I'd play?
I mean, maybe.
Stop.
All right, so we'll review last week's. Austin didn't end up sending his in, but we'll start with Brandon. Ryan Suckup will have more fantasy points than DeMarco Murray, and that was correct.
Oh, Wow.
Suckup had 14 points. DeMarco Murray had 7.6.
That was good.
Good for Brandon. My first one was Alvin Kamara will outscore Mark Ingram. Alvin Kamara had 10.7. Mark Ingram had 17, so I was obviously incorrect. Jonathan's first one. Derrick Henry will outscore DeMarco Murray for a second straight week, and that was incorrect.
Did not happen.
Derrick Henry had a bold 2.4 points to DeMarco Murray's 7.6. Brandon's second bold prediction. Adrian Peterson will fail to score 6 points, and that's correct. He had 3.3. So Brandon went 2 for 2 this week. I don't know when the last time somebody else went 2.2 or 2 for 2 was, but
I don't know. I don't know if it's happened.
yeah.
Unless I know there's 1 week you did really well, but I definitely haven't done that.
So congrats to Brandon.
Yeah.
My second one was Devontae Adams will be a top 16 receiver. That was incorrect. He was the 84th receiver overall, so not even close. Yeah. And then here was the boldest prediction of the week.
Ooh.
CJ Beathard.
Beathard.
Is a top 15 quarterback, and he was not a top 15. He was actually top 17.
Which is actually pretty close. And I feel like if he wouldn't have fumbled twice, he may have been top 15. Those extra 4 points, maybe.
That tends to help.
Yeah. If you don't lose the ball.
Yeah. Yep. So Jonathan went 0 for 2.
We'll just renew it again this week and see if it happens.
I went 0 for 2. Good luck with that one. And Brandon went 2 for 2. So Brandon would now move to 3 for 14. I would be 6 for 15, and Jonathan would be 1 for a whopping 13.
I didn't even realize I got 1. Thought I was still at 0.
Yeah, I don't know where you got it right at, but
We don't have to look back. That's okay.
so let's move on to our bold predictions for this week. Looks like it'll be just Jonathan and I. Jonathan, I'll let you take the lead.
Yeah. My first bold prediction is that Chris Thompson is a top 10 running back.
Blah.
There you go.
My first one is Alshon Jeffrey will be a top 12 receiver this week.
Oh, the comeback.
Seth, without using the soundboard,
It's a live
made a
soundboard.
Sound. Impressive.
I like it.
Stinky.
Remind me
pick.
not to use your pop filter.
Stinky pick.
Jonathan's second one.
My bold prediction is that Amari Cooper does it again, and he has 80-plus yards and a touchdown.
You like to do the 2 bets. You always burden yourself.
I do.
He'll probably get 100 yards and no touchdown.
I know. I should have just said a touchdown.
But you already said it, so you can't take it back.
All right.
My second
Fair
one
enough.
of the week, Antonio Brown will finish outside of the top 10 receivers. He's playing the Lions this week.
Oof.
He's projected to be the number 1 wide receiver overall.
Nice. I actually have a third one because I feel like I need to get my percentage up.
All right, let's hear it.
I think Will Fuller will not score a touchdown this week. He scored a touchdown in 3 straight games, I believe.
Okay.
So there you go, betting against you, Fuller.
All right. I would die laughing if he scores just to hurt your percentage. But
First
okay,
play of the game.
We'll take it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
My third one is Martavis Bryant does not score a touchdown as well this week.
Oh, bold.
He's not playing, so
Yep.
we'll move on to Seth's random 2 minutes. Seth, take it away.
Right after this Applebee's ad, Jason.
We're not getting paid by Applebee's, so
Nope.
let's not say.
No affiliation with Applebee's.
Yet.
Okay, so you referenced Tiger earlier, which was apropos.
Don't know what
Wait,
that word
what
means.
is
Define
this?
apropos.
It was convenient timing. It was topical.
Nice.
So my favorite sport is golf. A lot of you listeners might not know that. But a lot of times in golf, we'll take somebody who's doing really, really well right now. The only person that this comparison works for is Tiger. So the constant argument is who's the best golfer of all time. Is it Tiger Woods or is it Jack Nicklaus? And so the bigger point that I want to get to is, can you compare athletes who span like 30 to 40 years between when they were in their prime? Can you compare generations of athletes playing the same sport accurately? I don't think you can.
Like LeBron and Jordan.
Yeah,
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, and even you could even argue that the game changed a lot from when Jordan was there to when Kobe played. Like, it's not as drastic of a difference,
Right.
but like, I feel like it's almost impossible to compare athletes of different generations. Specifically in golf, technology has taken over and things have gotten. The game has changed completely. They've added thousands of yards to courses, and the ball is easier to hit now. But like in other sports, like, can you compare NBA stars whose primes were 30 years different? Can you compare? Like, football's changed a ton. They even moved the goalposts.
Not yet.
True.
Definitely not in football. Just everybody's bigger and stronger, and
I mean, look at those
Strategy's
jerseys
different.
they played with in the 80s, man.
Used to run the ball
Seriously.
40 times a game, and you just don't do that anymore. So football, no.
I agree.
NBA,
They added the three-point line.
yeah,
Scoring records.
scoring. Yeah, you couldn't really do that.
The game has changed completely. You don't just. I mean, look at the Warriors. Just shoot.
Right. Baseball, not even close. I mean, Mark McGuire and Sammy Sosa. Their home run
that
thing,
that
they
whole
were just roiding like crazy.
roiding
Barry
out
Bonds,
of their minds.
So
I don't think that
Probably
there
not.
is. I don't think there is a sport that you really can. And I feel like it's because of like how.
I don't feel like badminton's changed that much.
That's true. Thank you,
Slash
Jason.
tennis.
Badminton. We can
Tennis,
compare
yeah.
badminton or ping pong.
No, the paddle grips in ping pong has definitely changed. I think the spin is much more severe
The
than it was back in the
velocity
day.
of
Stop
their
it.
yeah.
Anyways, I think technology and sports are inextricably connected, and it makes it difficult to compare. But it's fun. It's fun to argue.
Completely agree.
True.
We will move on to our next section, and that is. Thank you, Seth, for your random 2 minutes.
Thank you, Jason.
Our next section is blow up or show up. Just players we think will blow up, do well, or no, sorry, start to fail, not do as well.
Yeah.
You want to get rid of.
By
or-
blow up, we mean tank.
Yes. Or,
That's confusing.
yes. Or show up. Players that will do well from here on out.
Blew up or shoot up.
You said I was bad at making names of segments. That's the worst one I've ever heard.
Mediocre dinner.
Oh,
Wow.
burnt dinner.
So let's just ignore Seth. First
Pizza.
one up for me is
Pizza.
Nelson Aguilar.
Or steak.
Nelson Aguilar. Yeah.
Blow up or show up?
Blow up or show up.
I think show up. I mean, he's already been showing up, and he's proven to be one of. I don't know. Just compared to last year, the difference that the improvement that he's made in his own game has been pretty impressive. So, I think he continues.
Yeah, I go show up as well. Just target share, looking good. Clearly the number one receiver, and Carson Wentz is balling. So
True.
show up for me. Jonathan, your first one.
My first one, I already know what you're gonna say, but my first one was Chris Thompson.
Where's my bomb sound effect, Seth?
I'm playing a song, Jason, but I'll make one for you.
That was pretty good.
I know. I can also do a vacuum cleaner.
Oh,
Wait for my next one. Okay.
Okay,
For
that
once-
could suck.
for
Yeah.
when someone sucks, yeah.
Yep.
Suck.
Exactly.
So yeah, blow up for me. Just I don't buy him. He's just 12 touches a game. Some of them are pass plays where he's getting the ball in the backfield and has to do all the work. Some of them are screens which end up working, or he ends up getting killed before he can even turn around.
Yeah.
He's doing it right now. I would never play him. He's just like a Will Fuller or Terrell Pryor. It's just kind of like you hope and you get something. Not like you can depend on 10 points a game.
It's just hard because at some level I agree, but then it's like, well, then he's also been doing this for like 6 weeks, 6 out of the 7 weeks. So when does it become that, or when does it become consistent and the norm, you know? So I don't know. He's had 5 touchdowns in the last 6 games. I think I go the other way. I think I go show up, just because I feel like they're gonna keep using him more.
The only way I would agree with you is just because his last 3 weeks have been more consistent. The first 3 weeks of the season, he had like a 60-yard touchdown in each of those games. So
Right.
that's way more fluky than him scoring on shorter pass plays to me.
Right.
So,
Like on Monday night.
Right. So I'm still going blow up.
Okay. All right.
My next one, Cam Newton. Blow up or show up. He's been on and off, had two good weeks in a row, and then this past week versus a good Bears defense, really struggled.
Yeah, it's tough. I'm not a Cam believer. I'd probably say blow up. I don't know. I think it's kind of like what you said. The offensive line doesn't look good, and I just think he's been too unpredictable to trust this year.
Seth, would you give the vacuum sound for Jonathan's opinion? I was hoping for the vacuum sound, not a Dairy Queen ice cream machine, but
Hey,
close enough.
they're similar.
I like it.
I mean,
You
a little.
suck.
Well, a little bit closer to the definitely Dairy Queen. But
That's the sound.
no, that's Dairy Queen. That's not a vacuum.
It's like an air conditioner.
Yeah,
It's like a generator.
Yeah.
it's like not a vacuum.
They get confused.
So Cam Newton, I think he's going to show up. He's starting to run the ball more, especially when they get in the red zone. They just never got in the red zone last week versus the Bears. I think he's a legit quarterback. Probably going to be in the top 10 quarterbacks at the end of the year. Definitely a show up for me. I'm going to keep starting him week to week, and I have Carson Wentz with me on my squad.
Oh, really? And you're starting Cam?
I will be starting Cam each week.
You're gonna lose each week.
5-2. Take that to the bank.
Oof. Not for long.
Good advice. Cam Newton, all the way. Jonathan, your next one.
Next one, Josh Doxson. He's not technically one that has performed super well yet, but he played a season high 54 snaps last week. And Coach Gruden has said that they drafted him to be the number one guy. So, what do you think?
I mean, you can't really blow up from nothing, so I'm going to say show up, but I don't know. They're targeting more in the red zone. He's definitely worth an ad.
Yeah, and I agree. Mine will show up too. Pryor was basically, it seemed like he was benched last week as well, which gives more looks, more targets for Doxson for sure.
I also think that Chris Thompson is going to be a thorn in his side, though. So
That's true.
you're putting him on your team, but I don't know if you're actually going to play him or not this year. Oh,
Mike falling.
Jonathan lost the mic.
Drops the mic
Yep.
prematurely.
Sorry.
We'll move on to
Unintentionally.
my next one, and it's Juju Smith-Schuster. He's had 2 touchdowns the last 2 games. Basically, they're using him how they used Martavis Bryant 2 years ago. He's second or third on the team in receiving targets over the past 3 weeks. So he's definitely worth an add to me. But blow up or show up, Jonathan?
I'm showing him. I show up. He's gonna show up. I don't know. Yeah, I think Bryant being inactive this week, he's gonna be he's been taking over Bryant's snaps. He has 3 touchdowns already, which is the same as many as Antonio Brown. Obviously, not the same amount of yards, but
No.
I think he's a pretty good ad. I don't think you start him yet, but potential. He has potential.
Same page as you, show up. Enough said about that. Just worth an ad. Him
Right.
and Josh Doxson are kind of in that same category for me right now.
I agree. It's just like the speculative ads at this point. Like if you have a bench spot open or there's someone that you can drop, it's worth it.
Yeah. If you have Martavis, you're dropping him for Juju Smith.
Exactly. That's a perfect replacement. My next one was Tyler Kroft. He is Tyler Eifert's replacement. Bengals really like their Tyler receivers, but what do you think about him?
Show up. Andy Dalton loves his tight ends in the red zone. He always seems to look that way, even though he has a pretty good receiver in AJ Green. But
True.
yeah, he just loves his tight ends, and I believe Kroft scored last week.
Yeah, he did.
So
Yep.
just proving my point. I like him. Tight ends are rough this year, really, really rough this year. So Tyler Kroft, definitely. I mean, he should be added in all leagues.
I agree. And just some stats to go behind that. He the past 3 games he's averaged 43 yards with 3 touchdowns. Touchdown in each game. And he's played 93% of Cincinnati's snaps since Eifert went out.
I like that.
Yeah, and every red zone look he's caught for a touchdown. Like you said, they love him in the red zone. And he's a good bye week fill-in, I think, especially for this week when there are some tight ends like Ingram and on a bye and that kind of and Delaney Walker on a bye.
Yep.
So he's definitely a good one to pick up if he's available.
My next one, I kind of know the answer, but Carson Wentz. Blow up or show up.
Show up.
Yeah.
You can't right now. I don't know. You can't hate him. And he's just like
No.
he's just balling and it's fun to watch.
He's
so.
MVP candidate right now. So
For
show
real.
up as well. We really don't need to talk about that one.
Yeah, just write it down in the books. My last one I had was Latavius Murray, which is a little interesting coming off his big week with over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah, blow up for me.
Yep.
I don't buy him.
Yep.
I don't buy anybody in that Vikings backfield, as I said earlier.
I was the same way, and I think the game script really favored him too. You know, they were ahead most of the game, and they just, I don't know. I just think there were wide open holes. I think, but if McKinnon were in, he could have hit those holes too.
Right.
So I think it's just kind of luck of the snaps.
If you think that the Case Keenum-led Vikings are going to be up in a lot of games, then you keep Latavius Murray. But if not, you bail.
Exactly.
Trade him.
Yep, I agree.
My next one, Jarvis Landry. So he started out the year super slow. Now he's had a touchdown in his past 3 games, and his catches have gone up since the beginning of the season, besides that 1 catch game. So
Yeah.
blow up, show up, especially now since Jay Cutler's hurt and Matt Moore is in.
This one I think depends if you're in a PPR league or not.
Standard. We'll go standard.
Ugh, you make it harder for me.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, I'm gonna say blow up. I think the return of Devontae Parker, whether that's this week or next week, will take some targets away from Landry, and then I don't know. I mean, I know Moore will be pretty good, but I just wouldn't trust Landry to continue in standard. In PPR, I would start him every week.
Yeah.
But
agree with you in PPR, but disagree with you in standard. He's a show up for me. I think that he's at least going to get you 6 catches and 60 yards, and that's good enough for a flex play. And that's kind of what you need out of your flex play to win each week if you break it down point by point.
That's fair.
But the fact that he's had 3 touchdowns and the way they use him in the red zone is they'll line him up as the outside receiver and then basically just run a pick play and have him run a slant inside and get him the ball. So, I mean, and it's been working. So that's how he's been scoring, and I think that's going to continue.
Fair enough.
My last one is Cameron Brate. I know we talked about him earlier, but especially since O.J. Howard performed well last week, is Cameron Brate a blow up or show up?
I think he's still a show up. I think you can still rely on him. It's just going to be hard to predict whether or not he gets the touchdowns or not. I saw a stat saying that he still outsnapped O.J. Howard, so he's still getting more work than Howard.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still have faith in him. I say show up.
Yeah, and I mean he's probably outsnapping him just because he's probably the better run blocker.
Right.
Howard's more of a receiving tight end, so I'm still saying show up. Cameron Brate's, at least for now, at least for this year, is going to be the more reliable tight end.
Agreed.
So we'll move on to our last section, and that is the listener question. So first one up, Lima Ronaldo, 1,000. What should I do with Stephon Diggs? He's just been dealing with injuries, and now, I mean, Case Keenum's in, and he really has not brought the production that he did in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, and he practiced today, and supposedly the plan is for him to play this week in London. But so it's hard. I think I still trust him. I still trust Diggs, even with Keenum in there. I think he's still viable. He's still a great talent when he's healthy. So I have no trouble. I have no problem trusting him still.
Yeah, Keenum's not afraid to sling the ball, and they play Cleveland this week, by the way. The Vikings do.
Nice.
Stephon Diggs he's still a good receiver, and
yeah.
I mean, I'm probably starting him the rest of the way in my flex spot, especially I'm looking at Seth's lineup right now, and he's starting Jimmy Graham in the flex spot over Stephon Diggs. And I mean,
ballsy.
The only reason was because he was still questionable.
I'm probably going with Stephon Diggs all the way. Actually, we can just critique Seth's lineup real quick.
Just go down the line.
Both my tight ends did well last week.
As long as he's not playing me in that
Each
league.
one was like 10 to 11 points.
So Seth in the starting lineup: quarterback Tom Brady, running back Tevin Coleman, James
Freaking
White,
Tevin Coleman. Thanks for
Brandon
nothing.
Cooks, Marvin Jones as his second wide receiver, who he should replace with
Hey,
Stephon
Marvin
Diggs.
Jones had like 15 points last game he played.
15.6 versus New Orleans. Nice.
True.
Jared Cook in the as tight end, Jimmy Graham in the flex, Bills defense, and Steven Hoshka. So, yeah, I would want to replace Diggs with Marvin Jones, but
Yep, I would agree.
and then I might even leave Cook or Graham in my flex spot. Seth has Willie Snead basically as his only other player
Yeah,
that
I'm going to
is
drop him. So
available to play. So
Fair enough. I'd probably do the same thing. I agree.
that is Seth's crappy lineup for the week.
okay, thanks.
Make that a recurring segment.
Oh, I like that actually.
Yeah, we're not going to give Seth advice on
We'll switch it up every week.
the last 2 years. I've given Seth
Advice I've beaten
on
him
advice on
his own advice.
players to switch in and out for me, and he's beaten me because those players have went off.
Oof.
One of them wasn't Rob Kelly? Was it Rob Kelly?
No,
It was
the
running back.
It was a
before
Redskins running back.
Yeah, before Rob Kelly. Anyway, I said play him
Oh.
that week, and he wasn't.
I can't remember.
He's
what
not
it was.
anything
He had
special.
like 25.
Yeah, and he just
His
destroyed me.
one good week.
Yes, he
Yeah.
destroyed me.
I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember his name because
Yeah,
he's gone now.
And he's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Our next question, also from Lima Ronaldo 1000. Who would you
Nice.
rather have rest of the season, Stephon Diggs or Keenan Allen?
Oof. That's hard.
I think this one's easier for me. I'm still going Keenan Allen. PPR-wise, Keenan Allen's going to get a ton more targets.
Yes.
Standard, I'm still staying that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just ton of targets. They
I
played the
agree.
Broncos last week. I mean, it's going to be tough for him either way.
I agree. Yeah, I think Keenan Allen's shown to be like Rivers' top target, and I don't know. He stayed healthy this whole time. I would lean Allen too.
So that's going to do it for this Frontline Fantasy Football show. We want to thank you guys for watching. You should follow us on Twitter at FrontlineFF. You should check out our website. That's frontlinefantasyfootball.com. You can check out Jonathan's blogs, Brandon Starts and Sits, my rankings, Austin's DFS section. And coming soon, we will have a page for dogs versus babies.
Cannot wait.
Seth and Brandon's dogs will each have a pick of the week, and our Jonathan and I's babies will make the pick as well. I guess Jonathan's not really a baby, a toddler,
Toddler,
more
yeah.
of a toddler, but
Yeah.
we will put those two dogs and babies versus each other.
Who will
and
win?
See who will have the better picks. We also want to remind you to check out the new athletes we've added to the table. Tweet at us their names. First person to tweet at us will win a $10 gift card of their choice, courtesy of Frontline Fantasy Football. Reminder, score more fantasy points than your opponent this week. Thanks for listening. Until next time.